Hi, Freddie.
Look at this guy,
How
Chris.
are you?
Thanks for waiting for me, man. How you doing?
I'm happy to see you. How's it going over there?
It's good to see you too. I always love interviewing you because you are so engaged with the interviews and you like listen to the questions and the only other person I can say is anything like you is Jay-Z, and you guys are friends.
Yeah, well, yes. Thanks. I mean, does people not listen to the questions sometimes?
No, they no,
Really?
they no, and I don't know. You're a thoughtful guy, and it's always fun to interview you. But somehow we've never hung out in person. I don't know how that's happened, but I think it's going to happen when you're in Chicago at Soldier Field. We got to do it.
I got told I was not allowed within 20 meters of you and couldn't look you in the eyes.
That's funny because they told me the same thing about
Well,
you.
there we go.
So, look at this. I got a whole list of stuff I can and can't ask you. So here we go.
Really?
Yes. No, they're looking out for you because I don't know. Every now and again I go rogue, but it's awesome to talk to you.
You can go rogue. I didn't know that that's a thing, but ask me anything, and if I don't want to answer, I just won't answer.
I wouldn't do that to you. But tell me about the last couple of years with the pandemic and I mean, are you just so charged to get out and do this tour? Do you have like 50 albums in the can? I mean, was it a creative time or was it like everybody else where it was completely uncertain and we didn't know what was going to happen?
Yeah, Fred, I think it's probably the same for us as for most people. It gave us an extra sense of gratitude for our job,
Yeah.
and especially touring and playing with people around, that was kind of taken away. And so now that it's back, it feels extra special. But I think probably the same existential questions that we all had applied to us too.
Yeah. Yeah. And were you writing the whole time? Were you sort of dreaming up this tour? I mean, what was the
Yeah,
process like?
yeah, but we're always kind of doing that. So
Yeah.
it didn't we were doing what we would have been doing anyway.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Soldier Field, it's the 28th and 29th. And so this is different from a lot of other tours because you're really focused on sustainability with this, where I don't know if a lot of other folks have done this the way that you have. What does that mean for you?
well, for the truth is that we're in a really privileged position where we're able to afford to try some new stuff environmentally, which means things like we have bits of the floor which are kinetic, so people create power by jumping up and down, or a bank of bicycles where you can pedal and create power, or the show is running on, or about to start running on biofuel batteries and all these things, but they're all quite expensive to try. And so we feel like, in a strange way, we're like the guinea pig for a lot of these ideas to see if
Yeah.
it works. And then it can be like any new invention, the more people start using it, the cheaper it gets, which is great.
Yeah. Yeah. It's stuff like solar panels at the shows. You've got a pledge to cut tour emissions by 50%.
Yeah.
Even a way to sustainably get to and from the venue with an app that you guys created.
Yeah, there's an app, I think it's called Music of the Spheres app. And we made that with a group called SAP. And that's just helping with ride sharing and those kind of things. And then you get prizes and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I've seen so many interviews and read so much about you over the years as just a fan. And it's amazing to me how simple it sounds, the way that some of your hits, some of the biggest songs have come about. Like, is it true that Yellow, you looked at a Yellow Pages, and is that a real story? And that's where the title came from?
That is definitely true, the title, yeah. I was sitting waiting to record guitar on another song, and there was a problem with the machines or something. And that song then I was trying to sound like Neil Young as a joke. I was singing like, look at the stars, like that, in like a Neil Young. And then I was like, wait, I really like that. And then it turned into, I sounded a bit more like Kermit the Frog just then, but you know what I mean? Sometimes songs start as a sort of joke experiment.
Yeah.
That's how it happened.
And so when you're writing these songs, I mean, is it like that? Is it lyrics first? Is it title first? Is it melody first? I mean, how do you, when this stuff comes to you, what's sort of the creative process?
Yeah, it can be any of those things. Normally a title is the first thing that I have a list of titles that I like, and then the right song, comes if it comes, and doesn't if it doesn't. And then sometimes the whole thing just falls through the sky.
Yeah. And I wonder about that too, because, we hear the stories about, clocks or yellow or whatever, where it came to you in a moment and then you sell a gazillion albums or whatever. How many other songs do you think you've written that came to you that quickly that maybe we haven't heard or that didn't get
Oh
that
yeah,
big?
I like that question, Freddie. Well, the truth is, let's say if you take our 10 best known songs, whatever, for each of them, there's probably about 1,000 abandoned ones. No, that's not a joke. There's literally 1,000.
And
So
then
many.
those just disappear somewhere. I mean, you hide them.
Yep.
You never want them to reach the light of day.
No, there's such a filter process with our group that I'll show something to the rest of the band, and a lot of songs don't get past that stage. A lot of times they're like, nah, we don't like it.
Do you get a feel though when you're doing it like this is going to be a smash, or are you ever shocked when it's done that it is in fact the song on the album that resonates with everybody?
I think somewhere in your body you know what you really love, and I've tried to trust that more and more over the years. And it tends to be that if you really like something, then someone else will too. It doesn't mean that there's a whole group of people that won't hate it, because that's just life.
Yeah.
But normally the ones that I feel special about tend to connect with some people.
Yeah. Two more things for you, and one we'll see if you answer. It's not bad. It's not that bad though. I've read that you guys you've been doing this since 2002. You met in college, that all your bandmates, and that you remain. There's this democracy in the band where everybody sort of gets an equal vote on what's happening, and that you've also managed to remain friends through all of this success. That's unheard of, I feel like. I mean, how do you keep it fair and even and friendly for all this time?
Okay, that's a really good question. And I want to go back to what you said, the last question, which is that sometimes I think something's great and nobody responds to it. But I feel like if you're working in anything creative, you have to trust your gut.
Yeah.
That's the only thing really to hang anything on. But in answer to your second question, we were so lucky that we're the sort of third wave of, what you might call modern bands. So we've had two generations of other bands to look at, and we saw that the bands that tended to share their money and share their credit stuck together, and those that didn't so much. So the very raw facts are that we, apart from a little bit of publishing money where I get a little bit more, we split everything equally, and that's a big deal. And then in terms of our decision making, that's pretty equally split, which is very stressful, but ultimately the way to stay together. And we really love each other as brothers. We laugh at the same stuff, which is a big deal.
Well, and it's paid off, because how many bands do you hear about that don't do it that way, and they don't see their growth to the fruition that you guys have? I mean, almost 30 years.
Yeah,
20 years.
It's really amazing. And you realize at a point that ultimately, even if you wrote the song, quote unquote, you didn't really, because we get given gifts as humans, and no one really knows why you're a great DJ or why I'm a singer. It's just what we got given to do. So
that is a fact. Nobody can figure out how I got this job. That is absolutely certain.
But you know what I mean? It's like, it's your gift, and it was given to you. So you can't really take too much credit. You can just do it. And that's the way we think.
Yeah, well, I want everyone to go to the tour, Music of the Spears at Soldier Field. Most of us will be here. We gave away a ton of tickets to the 28th and 29th. Last thing, and I'm doing research for this interview, and I'm looking up stuff that people have asked you before, because I don't want to ask you the same questions, even though they've already been asked. But if you Google your name and you click on news, no joke, 95% of what's current continues to be about your previous relationship with Gwyneth Paltrow. And I don't want details about that, but why are people so fascinated with that? I know you have kids together and your friend. Is that why? Because you guys are cool?
I don't know, man. I don't really read stuff. So, she's a great, wonderful person doing big things. And, that's all. I don't know. I don't know why. It's more interesting maybe than writing Coldplay did another concert.
I don't know. I don't know. I'm amazed that people are still talking about this. It's like, let's move on, you
I
know?
think it's not. Well, I think that since the dawn of time, people love gossip, and it's okay, and it's a way of getting through the day. And so, if you're one of the characters in those stories, you just have to be like, all right.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you're smart not to look at this stuff. Everyone says nice things about you, but yet, I don't know. There's always somebody, you know?
What do people write about you, Freddie?
That's a good question. Mostly nice things, but not always, you know. I think my mistake is I respond to some of it. So I should be more like you. Yeah.
That is a mistake, my brother.
You're right. You're right. We used to have a little box in here where I had to put money in every time I responded to somebody who wasn't happy. But, a lot of times the people that aren't happy are some of your biggest fans, biggest supporters secretly. They have to remember why they don't like you.
I think that if someone likes you or doesn't like you, it's all okay. And there's nobody in history that's agreed on everything. There's nothing in the human world about which everyone has the same opinion. So you just have to be like, okay, I guess that's going to apply to me too.
Well, I know you're a very successful, wealthy man, but I do pay my therapist pretty well each week. I mean, if you want, I'll direct those funds to you and we can do this Monday afternoon. That's the time.
Monday afternoon at 3. I'll be there.
That happens to be the time. Good. All right. Hey, I look forward to seeing you in Chicago. Thanks for your time.
Thanks, man. I really like talking to you, and I'll see you soon.
Likewise. Yeah, take care.
Yeah,